Hello guys, welcome back to chapter 4 managerial accounting. We are using introductions to managerial accounting McGraw-Hill. The title of this chapter is called activity based costing. Okay, this is chapter 4. So basically, what are we going to use? Objective number 1, understand the basic approach in activity based costing and how it differs from conventional costing. So when cost costing system developed in 1800, it was simply a simplicity because cost and activity data had to be collected by hand and all calculations were done in paper and pencil. That's basically the way it is. Most companies produce a limited variety of similar products, so there's a little difference in overhead costs consumed by each product. Brand-wide overhead rate is a single overhead rate that is used throughout the entire factory. Direct labor has often been used as the allocation base for overhead because of direct labor information was already being recorded. Direct labor was a large component of product costs, and managers believe direct labor and overhead costs were highly correlated. Okay? And then, what is going on today? Direct labor may no longer be satisfactory base for allocation overhead, and most companies sell a large variety of products that consume differing amount of overhead. As a percentage of total cost, direct labor has been declining, and uh, and when overhead has been increasing, many of these growing overhead costs may not be correlated with the direct labor. Technology advancement may have reduced the cost and complexity of getting different source of data. Okay, plain white overhead allocation system may not be optimal for many companies in today's business environments. Okay, and then many companies have a system in which each department has its own overhead rate. Examples such as machine department, assembly department, shipping department. This allocation base depends on the nature of the work performed in each department. In the machine department, such as maybe overhead is based on the machine hours, but the assembly department based on the direct labor hours. Okay. Example, department rates will not correctly assign overhead situation where a company has a range of product complexity and overhead costs. Okay, the department approach rely on a single measure of activity as the allocation base, while some overhead costs may be caused by factors that are not directly proportionate to the volume of productions. Activity-based costing is used to account for this other factor and more accurately assign overcosts on products. Okay. What is the cost of objectives? It is activities-based costing flow charts. Cost object, product, and customer is activities down, activities down, arrow into activities consume resources down into consumption of resource incurred costs. Okay. Activities go all the way to the event. Cost, the assumption of overhead cost. Example activities here. Example, setting up machine, admitting hospital patients, billing customer, opening bank accounts. So these are the 4 example of activities. Okay. All right. Activity pool. A cost bucket. What is this? Activity pool is a cost bucket in which costs related to a particular activity that are accumulated. Activity measure express how much of the activity is carried out and used to in allocation of base for applying the overhead cost. An activity rate is pre-driven overhead rate for each activity cost of pool. For example, assembly line of Toyota or Harley. They are associated with that. Okay, such as labor, machine, and etc. The measure how long it's gonna take, how many labor hours it's gonna take. Okay, the activity, how much you're gonna pay for that labor. For example, assembly line will cost you maybe $30 per hour for the assembly line workers. Okay, example is like that. For each activity, it has its definition by pool, by measure, by rate. For each activity isolation, this system works exactly like the job order costing system described in the previous chapter. It's a predictive overhead rate that is computed for each activity and then applied to jobs and product based on the amount of the activity consumed by the job or product. The challenge is to select a reasonable number of activity explain the bulk of the variation in the overhead cost. Okay, these are chosen by interviewing managers to find out the activities and think about the consume that most of the organization resources. Okay. All right, what are the things related activities frequently combined to reduce the amount of detail and record and keeping costs? Okay, for example, several actions may be involved in handling and moving raw materials, but these may be combined into single activity titled material handling. An activity dictionary defines each of the activities that will be included in the activity-based costing system and how the cost activity will be measured. What are them? Level. In terms of unit level here, processing unit per machine will be machine per hour. Processing unit by hand will be direct labor hours. Okay, if you do my machine uh, making noodles, for example, machine noodles gonna machine hours. Unit by hands, direct labor hours. Consuming by factory supply will be based on unit produced. This is based on the unit level. By batch level, purchase order will be purchase order process. Processing by production workers. Orders will be purchasing order process. Setting up equipment will be the number of setup. Handling materials will be pounds of materials handled. This is in terms of batch level. And then the product level, which is a testing new product based on the hours of testing time. And we say part inventory based on the number of parts of types. And then maintaining inventory parts by hours of design time. And then facility level is based on the general factory administration, direct labor hours, while plant and building and grounds is based on the direct labor hours. Okay, look at the next one. Where is manufacturing overhead cost? First step cost assignment will be based on labor related pool, machine related pool, machine setup pool, production order pool, parts administration pool, and general factory pool. Okay, look at the second stage here. This is the first stage. Go to the second stage and the product level. Okay, this is what I just mentioned for the previous graph. Second stage allocation as DLH. So MH per dollar per machine hour, dollar per setup, dollar per order, dollar per type, dollar per machine hour here. So this is a unit level, best activity level, productivity level, facility level. So these are very detailed, guys. If you take a look at this is by unit, this is by batch, this is by product, this is by facility. Give you from first stage to the second stage. Okay. Example here, 450,000, 1,200 order, 375 per order. Comtech, it makes two products, GPS system and phone system. Example, activity costing of two, and then the company has been losing bids to supply GPS systems to lower price competitors. The company has been winning all bids to supply phone systems. So there's two issues. GPS they are lost, but winning on the phone system. Okay, let's look at the next one. Comtech has sales of 50,000 pounds per unit, 200,000 GPS per unit. Comtech traditional cost system based on the manufacturing overhead to product based on the direct labor hours. Per product require 2 direct labor hours to complete. So these are the things. The detail phones 50,000 times 2, 100,000, GPS 200,000 times 2, 400,000. Total direct labor will be 500,000. Okay, that's the one, 500,000. Let's look at the next one. Unit cost direct labor are as follows. Pound per unit, direct labor will be, direct material will be 90, direct labor 20, GPS will be 50, 20. So when you do that, what are the base? DLS, which is direct labor hour base. DLS and direct labor hour cost. Total manufacturing overhead costs for the current year are estimated 10 million. The company therefore overhead rate based on the direct labor hours will be 10 million divided 500,000 DLH, which is going to be $20 per direct labor hour. Okay, DLH, which is direct labor hour. Since each product requires 2 hours of direct labor, $40 overhead is assigned to each product. So per unit here, phone and GPS. You got 90, 20, 40, you got 150 unit costs. GPS with 50, 20, overhead 40, so 110. This is how you do the calculation. Excuse me. Now compute the activity rates based on the activity-based costing system. What you do is that estimated ABC project team on content has developed basic informations. Activity measure, estimate overhead cost, DLH 800,000, and machine hour 2.1 million, machine setup 1.6 million, production order 3.15 million, parts 350,000, the factory 2 million. So total is 10,000. The expected activity total here 500 each category 100 to 400. As related 2.1 1 million here 300 700. Why you got this 1 million is combination of these two. Okay, phone and GPS total. Same thing here. Setup each setup here. Okay, it's give you a breakdown detail in each category. 800,000 you get half a million. 2.1 you get 1 million. 1.6 4,000. So each categorized based on phone and GPS. Okay. Once you do that, you're going to calculate activity rate. Once you have the whole total here, you're going to calculate. So you're going to calculate based on activity rate. 800 divided by 500 will be 1.6. 2.1 divided by 1 million, 2.1. 1.6 divided by 4,400 for setup. 3.15 divided by 1,200, 2,650, 2,625 per order. And then 350 by 700 is 500. And then 2 million divided by 1 million is 2 million. So that's based on activity rate. So once you do that, you're going to calculate each expected activity. You're going to calculate, you plug in all these numbers. That's from the previous slide. And you calculate all this. You got this number. Total overhead cost assigned. Number unit produced, 50,000. Total overhead cost per unit like this. So this is going to give you step-by-step expected for the phone. Okay. So you just plug in that number that in the previous slide in terms of the activities for the phone units. For the GPS unit, it's the same story. You got this number activities. Just plug in the activity rate. You got that produce 200,000. You got this number. So guys, that's the ideas. Plug in the numbers that is given to you for each total unit and go apply to each specific product. Okay, you're gonna look at previously from this is your overall product, and you're gonna apply to your phone unit here, and then you're gonna apply to your GPS unit here. Okay, once you do that, you're gonna get each overhead cost per unit. Okay. Alright, let's look at objective number 3. Compute product cost using activity-based costing. Once you do that, look at the direct labor. This is the activity base for the phone. Okay, you got the mention overhead, phone, unit product cost, and GPS unit like here. The direct labor costing will be here. Okay, note that this is the activity-based costing. This is the direct labor. There's two different ones. Okay, note that the unique product cost for cost of GPS unit is decreased from 110 to become 95.5. Okay, GPS here. Okay, while the phone become from 150 to 207. Phone 207. Here you go. Activity base. Okay, that's the difference from 110 going all here. From here we come here. You see the difference there? In terms of the two different approaches. One is activity-based costing, the other one is direct labor costing. Okay, from GPS 110 become 95, phone 150 become 207. The two different approaches give two different results. Okay, all right. Objective number 4: contrast the production cost, compute under activity-based costing and conventional cost methods. So once we do that, we're gonna compare with this 95, the first one, 110. ABC system assigned $14.45 overhead than the traditional system each to each GPS unit. Okay, and then look at the next one. 207, ABC assigns 57 of more overhead than traditional system each per cost unit. Look at the case again. Go back to the first one. The difference between here and here is 14.45. The second slide here, Let me go back to the slide here. 152 to 7, the difference is 57 more overhead. Okay, that's the difference for the phone unit. Okay, so low volume product. Low volume product. When company implement activity-based costing, overhead costs shift from high volume to low volume product costs with higher unit product costs, resulting for the low volume products. Okay, when a company implement activity-based costing, overhead costs shift from high volume to a low volume product with higher unit costs, okay, resulting in low volume product. Okay, for the high volume product, the intelligence system assign the same amount of all overhead for each phono unit, same amount, GPS. Okay, $40 per unit, 40 bucks. Okay, 150 and 100 GPS, high volume product. Okay, the ABCD, which is the production over activity cost pool, a batch level cost productions, the ABC system assign different amounts of production order related to overhead costs to each product. The fact can be read in two steps. Compute the number of unit processed per production order to each product, which is phone unit here, and GPS unit. GPS unit is the highest one, high volume. Phone is 50,000, GPS 200,000. Number of product is per year, 800. This is 400. Number of unit processed per order is 62.5. This is 500. GPS is the higher one. So what you're going to calculate? Compute the production cost. Okay, 62.5, you got 42 production unit. Here is 500, 6.5.25. Okay, so targeting the ABC system can help identify area where the company can benefit from improving its current process. Activity-based management focus on managing activities to eliminate waste and reduce processing time and defect. Okay, so activities rate can be used to target areas where cost seems very excessively high. Benchmarking can be used to compare activity costs influenced with the world-class standard of performance achieved by other organizations. So ABC activity-based costing improve the accuracy of product by increasing number of cost pool used in community overhead costs, using activity cost pool that are more homogeneous than the pre-development cost pool. Number 3, assigning overhead costs a activity measure that costs those costs rather than rely solely on the direct labor hours. And activity-based costing also highlight activity that could benefit most from process improvement efforts. There's also limitations of the ABC models that in terms of implementing outweigh the benefits. However, the benefits are more likely to be worth the cost than the product differs substantially in volume. Conditions have changed substantially since the existing cost system established. Overhead costs high and increasing, and no one seems to understand. And management do not trust any existing cost system and ignores data when making decisions. And number 5, the cost of each pool is strictly proportional. Example where managers should be particularly alert to the product that contains allocated facility levels. Okay, and then illustration of this chart assume that ABC is being used to external reporting purpose. If the system is used for internal decision-making purpose, two important machines should be made. Number 1, selling and admin costs should be assigned to products where appropriate, or facility levels should be removed from the product cost. That's basically closing this chapter, the ABC, activity-based costing. Okay, see you guys in the next chapter. Thank you for viewing this chapter. Thank you. Bye-bye.